All right. Good evening, my fellow Michiganders. Good evening, my fellow Americans. We have a lot to cover tonight. This one will probably be about 20 to 25 minutes because we got a couple more emails we have to discuss. Obviously, the attacks are increasing because we are getting so close. We're well over 300,000 signatures, including the over 9,000 signatures that we did to our protest for freedom in Traverse City that you all brought. So we are well over the 300,000 right now. And obviously we only need the 341,000, I think 63 or somewhere around that to submit it, but we are going way above that. So the Secretary of State has no choice but to confirm them. So we are going to get to 400,000 by Labor Day, folks. And we are going to get to 500,000 that following week. And I know we, the people, are going to be able to do this because we are going to continue to hammer down. We are not going to take the foot off the gas pedal. We are so close to the finish line. We need you all, and you all have been doing it because the momentum is out there more than ever to continue to hammer down. All right, so let's get after it because I have a lot of stuff, especially the governor's press conference this afternoon. So we are going to talk about that. But let's first get back to our favorite email that goes to most of us, the Keep Michigan Safe campaign that they're trying so hard to stop the momentum of our movement by we, the people. And it's just fun to read these things and kind of dissect them out. So this was a little bit not as, I guess, threatening in a way. So we're just going to read it nice and calm. The Republican-led petition drive, Unlock Michigan, is collecting more and more signatures every day. Yes, we are. We are the fastest petition drive, citizens petition drive ever in the state of Michigan. So they are correct in that. Congratulations to every single one of you out there, we the people. The second paragraph, the longer it takes for us to build up a grassroots war chest to fight this thing, the thing, now we're labeled a thing, all right? Not even the common courtesy of calling us what we are. To fight this thing, the closer they get to collecting all the required signatures, they need to pass their irresponsible agenda. There's the dig that I miss and know and love, all right? So we're not only fighting this thing, but we are going to try to prevent the required signatures they need to pass their irresponsible agenda. Folks, we all know this is not true. Anybody that we talk to now, this is only taking away the 1945 law. There's still the 1976 law that allows her to declare a state of emergency for 28 days. Then after that, lo and behold, we have checks and balances. She has to work with the legislature, right? Our government, to come up with common sense solutions, which we can talk about all day long, about how she did not use any common sense solutions with governing this great state during this severe pandemic that we had. So we need to fight back with grassroots power and show that Michiganders will not stand for partisan power grabs. All right. Y'all ain't grassroots. I'm going to let you know right now. This is grassroots. What you're experiencing, the power of we, the people, is a grassroots movement. You are the ones that are giving us all the momentum. So continue to send your emails. I'll get on here and continue to do what I do best, is read them, tell the truth, and always do what's right and be transparent with my movement so they understand what's going on. But I got a new one today. This is a new one. This came across, and thank you for everybody that messages me these to keep us updated because not all of these I get. So thank you, Wendy. You know who you are out there. Thank you so much. So says Gretchen Whitmer for governor. That's a new email campaign. From organizing a recall petition to filing lawsuits, Republican leaders and right-wing activists in Michigan are supporting an all-out extremist agenda to take away Governor Whitmer's authority. We were taking away her unilateral, tyrannical dictator powers, not her authority. She will still have some type of authority, but it should be checks and balances on how this beautiful constitutional republic was founded. But enough of that. Gretchen has been a leader in the fight against COVID-19, and while we are making progress, we have to ensure we don't go backward. We have to defend Gretchen from these far-right attacks, and that starts with you. And then they got little different donations that they can do, $10, $25, $50, and so on. But defend Gretchen from these far-right attacks and starts with you. If they really were truthful, they would say, defend Gretchen from we the people. And to any tyrannical governor, right, that should be very intimidating because when the people go against you, that would be scary, right? But if you do the right thing, we, the people, would not be coming after you. So thanks again, Wendy, for sending me these, because I like to analyze them. But that's a new one, folks. Just a shorty, but goodie. All right. So let's get to the fun part. How about take a drink of water on this one? Excuse me. Because I have a lot to say. Oh, my goodness gracious. Here we go. Are you all ready for this? Today on her press conference, and there was rumors. There was rumors out there that she may bless us. Thank you, Nanny Governor. And open up the bowling alleys and the gyms. Well, I got shot down real quick. She hung a little carrot out there. Says, not yet. Not yet, my people. But she didn't, obviously, which probably hit a lot of those owners right where it counts. And I apologize to all of you right now that are just suffering and trying to get this through this thing, and guarantee this, that we're fighting for you, everything that we can. And so just allow this to let this be the gasoline on the fire to get this repeal 1945 law so we can get this done, folks. So let's go into what her new narrative is. So let's go all the way back to what her narrative was in the beginning, because I told you all I wasn't going to let up on this. I'm going to continue to be the broken record, because I am not going to forget anything that she has said, anything that she has done, and I'm not going to let her get away with what she used to say and try to switch these things and just continue to evolve her narrative, because I'm going to go back and tell you how much of a clown show this has been, okay? So her old narrative, as we all know from the very beginning, was to flatten the curve, then it evolved into cases and deaths, cases and deaths, cases and deaths. Now, not a lot of people are dying, right? Because we found out that what the CD said, that only 6% of the people who had no underlying conditions out of all the tragic deaths of COVID, none of them had underlying medical conditions, only 6%. The other 94% of people who died of COVID had 2 or 3 underlying medical conditions, got COVID, and then died. So as we can see, if you're unhealthy, you're more susceptible to this disease. Weird, right? So if your body's sick, you're more susceptible to disease processes and viruses and sicknesses. Makes sense, right? But we don't want to talk about that. We can't, right? So now they're not going to talk about cases and deaths anymore. Now they're just talking about cases. And we have a new narrative today, ladies and gentlemen. A new narrative. Now it's testing. In a 14-minute period, in a 14-minute window, the governor and her lieutenant governor said testing. I counted it 43 times. Go back, fact check that if you want to listen to a press conference again, because sometimes it's like nails on a chalkboard. But 43 times they said testing, robust testing plan. Follow the science is what she kept saying with regarding her decision-making process. So I am going to let you know that is the one narrative that I didn't foresee. I thought we were going to skip right next to the up to flu season like she did last week, but she threw me a curveball. See, I didn't think she was going to go testing, but that's what they did today. That's their new narrative. We got to test everybody. We're going to open up tests everywhere, and we're going to continue to make decisions based off the science and the data. What do you think I'm going to go over tonight? The science and the data, and shoot down another narrative, okay? Because she said she wanted to follow the science and all of her decision-making to keep us safe, because this virus is very real, but to keep us safe and keep us fighting forward, Michigan. So you want to follow the science. But she went on, catch this. I had to rewind the press conference because I couldn't believe that they went down that road. They disagree with the CDC. That's what she said. She wants to follow the science, but she now has went on a live press conference and disagree with the CDC new stance. The CD, as you are well aware, the new stance came out, and I got it right here. The new stance on asymptomatic people not having to test, right? But that goes against her narrative because she wants to test 43 times in 14 minutes, folks. And that goes against her narrative because the CDC came out. If you do not have this virus symptoms and have not been in close contact with someone to have these virus symptoms, then you don't need a test. And it went on to say, if you have been in close contact within 6 feet of a person with this virus for at least 15 minutes, but do not have symptoms, you do not necessarily need a test. That's what the CDC said. They came out last week and talked about this. We talked about this. But she now says she disagrees with her CDC. What? That's what she said. They said they've gotten bad counsel. Now, I'm pretty sure the CDC, as best as they can, and they get it wrong, but they go off the science and data, the same science and data you say you go off when you're making your decisions. Okay, so, we're going to put that aside. I guess the CDC don't matter anymore. We're not going to listen to them ever again because our governor has said that they're getting bad counsel. She's not going to listen to them because it goes against her narrative of testing 43 times in a 14-minute period. Count it. That's what the CDC said, but I guess the CDC don't matter, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess we don't have to do anything the CDC ever says because Governor Whitmer doesn't follow it. Just like Nancy Pelosi doesn't follow her own rules and tyrannical behavior when she doesn't open the salons, but she was in the salon, this past couple days? No mask, getting her hair done? Holy cow, is that fun to watch her get roasted right now? But that's a whole nother story for a different time. But okay, science and data, science and data, science and data. Let's go on with the science and data because we're not going to listen to the CDC, but in the NBC News just came out with, not the NBC News, New York Times, okay? Got the article right here. New York Times, up to 90% of people with positive COVID test, up to 90% of people with positive COVID test results aren't infectious. Not my data, not my science. This comes out right out the New York Times. So let me reread this because we have a lot to read in this article. The New York Times states up to 90% of people with positive COVID test results aren't infectious. Your coronavirus test is positive. Maybe it shouldn't be, is the headline. The standard tests are diagnosing huge numbers of people who may be carrying relatively insignificant amounts of the virus. Most of these people are not likely to be contagious, the New York Times writes. The tests being used are too sensitive, meaning they pick up eating tiny fragments of this virus that do not indicate a person is actually meaningfully fully infected. Indeed, an investigation by the newspaper finds that up to 90% of positive test results are in people who are not infectious. So all these testing said 43 times in 14 minutes by the governor and lieutenant governor. The own data that's starting to come out right now is going through all these positive results. It goes on to say, it's really irresponsible, Dr. Michael Mina, an epidemiologist at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. We've been using one type of data for everything, and that is just plus or minus, that's all. We're using that for clinical diagnostics, for public health, for policy decision-making. It's just kind of mind-blowing to me that they're just returning a positive or a negative, said Angela Rosamond, a virologist at Columbia University in New York. It would be useful information to know if somebody's positive, whether they have a high viral load or a low viral load, she added. Just how many of the positive test results are from patients who have so little virus that they aren't infectious? The New York Times reviewed 3 sets of testing data from Massachusetts, New York, and Nevada. It found that 90% of people who tested positive barely had any of the virus. If that rate holds true for the entire country, it would mean that the United States has far fewer actual infectious cases of COVID than is being reported. On Thursday, the United States recorded 45,604 new coronavirus cases, according to a database maintained by the Times. If the rates of contagiousness in Massachusetts and New York were to apply nationwide, then perhaps only 4,500 of those people may actually need to isolate and submit to contact tracing, the Times wrote. So out of the 45,604, only 4,500 may actually need to isolate and do contact tracing. Just yesterday, California revamped its criteria for reopening businesses, basing it on how many positive test results a county has instead of hospitalizations, and setting the bar incredibly low. Just one new positive test per day out of 15,000 residents now keeps a county at the strictest level where nearly all businesses are shut or heavily restricted. So think about that. One positive case out of 15,000, they shut it down. But today's revelation by the New York Times shows that such a move would essentially keep the state permanently locked down with little regard for how many of those positive test results are actually from infectious Californians and how many are from overly sensitive PCR tests. Those two things right there shoot down the narrative of what she's basing her decisions on. Number one, the CDC, that article already threw away. I guess it doesn't matter. But the New York Times is now stating from research that I talk about that she never states on her press conferences. If you look it up, it's there, folks. Clown show. Over 90%, right? 90%. I want to make sure I tell you the right thing. 90% of people with positive COVID test results aren't infectious. That's what they're finding out right now. Now, all I can do, and that data may change, but all I can do, which I told you from the beginning, is be transparent, give you up-to-date, accurate, and truthful information from the data that I have in front of me at this time. But as this thing goes on, we're starting to see that all of us that have been fighting this ever since April 9th, we have been right. So why are we still closed down? We all know, because I got a lot more data that I'm going to rip up tonight. So let me go on. So is she following the same science that we're talking about? Obviously not, because if she was following the science as at hand right now and her medical professionals were doing it, we'd be opened up right now, no restrictions, no face diapers, everything would be back to normal, still quarantine the elderly with 2 or 3 underlying medical conditions because we know they are the most acceptable of the population, right? The majority of the deaths are from them. We can still do that, but we're not. We're still locked down. So, and she went on to say, until there is a vaccine, we must do the face diaper up. We're going to wait around for that? Are you serious? With the death rate continually to be almost very, very low. And yes, we're testing everybody and their mother, but it sounds like we're testing people with very trace amounts that who are not contagious. So, of course, positive cases are going to go up, but they're not infectious, but we're still wearing the face diapers. And she's calling the federal government to have a federal mask mandate? What planet are we on, folks? What planet? Clown show. What this is. Unbelievable. And she said that the face diaper, singularly, is the best tool we have to fight against this virus. The face diaper is. With a virus that the CDC just went on to say that 6% of the people who unfortunately died of COVID had no underlying medical conditions, and the other 94% had 2 to 3 underlying medical conditions, and most of those people were over the age of 80. And you're saying the face diaper for all of us is the best tool that we have. No, it's not. How about we start talking about your body? How about we start opening up gyms? I mean, and you said, well, people sweat there. They're going to spread those droplets everywhere and infect everybody. Okay, when I go to the gym, I don't shake my sweat on everybody. I actually wipe down every piece of gym equipment with cleaner after I'm done sweating on it. And I don't go around spitting in people's mouths, right? I pretty much social distance from everybody that's there all the time. I go off and get my workout and am I done? So you really tell me that gyms are going to spread this thing? Hey, look, I'm going to shoot that narrative right now down. If you want to see footage of all of our freedom festivals in our protest for freedom, where there is thousands and thousands of patriot Americans celebrating this country, celebrating being American, hugging, high-fiving, shaking hands, taking pictures, not one mask. I'm sorry, let me take that back. At one of our freedom festivals, I saw one mask out of thousands, and another one I saw 2 masks out of thousands. And this last one, the only mask that I saw was some radical far left person that was videotaping the thing. He had his mask, and we went up to talk to him. He acted like we had the plague, and he ran around and said, stay back, 6 feet, 6 feet. That's the fear that you're putting in people's minds. But if gyms are such a threat, why didn't our protest? Why didn't it just spread everywhere? Why didn't the tens of thousands of people that were protesting in Detroit, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Lansing, why didn't it spread? There was not this big death rate that happened. But you continue to pull the wool over the eyes of the lemmings who are following you off the face of the cliff of our economy in the state. Look at the data, folks. Look at the footage we have of our protests and our freedom festivals. There's no spread. And I shook everybody's hand, hugged the people who wanted to be hugged. No big spread. No big catastrophic death rate. And people still believe that this is going to be as catastrophic as she goes on and tells us every week. Oh, my goodness. It's too easy. Deaths that could have been prevented if we had more of a national strategy. As she went on to say that today, too. So she starts blaming the federal government. Again, look, we're against big government. The federal government is there to oversee and help us when needed. It's up to the individual states to come up with plans and execute those plans to the best of their ability. And if you need federal help, that's when you ask for it. And I think this federal government did what it was supposed to do. It put on the hospital ships. It sent out the PPE, the ventilators. It got everything done. And we're still asking and blaming them for everything that's happened. Well, you wait till I talk about the data that I have right in front of me today. But I'm not there just yet. That's going to be dessert. We're right in our main course right now, folks. The virus is still a real threat to our families, frontline workers, economy, businesses. We need more leadership at the federal level. Small businesses are suffering because not enough funding. What? Small businesses are not only suffering, small businesses are going out of business, Governor. And you know this, and you do not care. Because if you did, you would not be trying to get the federal government to help. You would start to open up like everybody else is and get things rolling. But it's okay to open up the casinos, the liquor stores, and the pot stores. Oh, because of tax revenue. Oh, isn't that interesting? So the bowling alleys and the gyms, not enough taxes for you to make money off them. So you're going to let these poor people fail into the ground, family generational businesses? Wow. I hope you sleep well at night. No governor, small businesses are not only suffering, but again, every single person, increased suicides. I said this again, increased domestic violence. Divorce rates are going through. I just read that article, right? Increased divorce rates. It just goes on and on and on, folks. And I said this from the very beginning. The solution to this can't be bigger than the catastrophic consequences of our elected officials making these unilateral decisions of what's going to happen in the long term in this great state. And we're seeing it and we feel it. And I hear the stories and I talk to the people and it's saddening. And still, I still can't believe, because I still have hope in government, that elected officials would allow their political agenda to get in the way of their own state and their own citizens' lives. I have a huge problem with that. That's not following the rules. That's not doing what's right. And that's not telling the truth. Because if you told the truth, you'd be going off the up-to-date data and not discounting the CDC and saying, nope, doesn't go against my narrative. I want to test everybody, keep the positive rates up so I can continue not to have sports. I don't have to open the gyms. I can keep the bowling alleys closed, and everybody will still continue to wear their face diaper. There's going to be a time in the near future that these people are going to have enough. They are going to have enough, and they are going to have big face diaper burning parties, and they're not going to wear them anymore because the gig is up. The gig is up. It's all out there. So people just have to continue to stand up and do not consent. So let's talk about dessert. Because she went on to say that Michigan's doing really good. Michigan's doing good. If everybody else would follow what we're doing, everything would be good. It's funny, on today's press conference, she didn't mention Wisconsin or Florida like she did 2 weeks ago when she threw them underneath the bus. Right? She did. She threw them underneath the bus and said, basically, they did everything wrong. They're done. Death rates are skyrocketing. And I went on there and I analyzed the deaths per 1 million and come to find out that Wisconsin's doing very well and Florida is doing not bad. But guess what? Florida fell out of the top 10 this week. Guess who's still in the top 10, ladies and gentlemen, of deaths per 1 million? Our great state, Michigan. Boy, our great governor. Michigan's sitting at number 9, still top 10. Congratulations. Man, I bet U of M football team, Coach Harbaugh, they probably would have been in the top 10 this year, but you didn't let them play. Sorry, Michigan. All right, so let's go through the deaths per 1 million. New Jersey, 1,809. New York, 1,699. Massachusetts, 1,315. Connecticut, 1,253. Louisiana, 1,076. Rhode Island, 992. Mississippi, 849. Arizona, 696. Michigan, 679 deaths per 1 million. Illinois, right behind us, at 655 deaths per 1 million. Number 11 is Delaware, 622 deaths per 1 million. Pennsylvania, 610. Out of the top 12, with the most deaths per 1 million and considered the most severe lockdowns, because they always said that their kind of policy and their decision-making is what's working. According to the data and the stats per deaths per 1 million, it is not. Out of the top 12 states of this great union, one is Republican ran. That's Arizona. They're at number 8. Massachusetts is number 3. He's a Democrat. He's not really a Republican. So out of the top 12, with the most severe lockdowns, almost all of them, besides 1.5, we'll give Massachusetts a half, is all democratically ran. Did lockdowns work? Time will tell. But according to the data right now, it's not. Georgia, number 13. South Carolina, number 14. 15. Florida fell out of the top 10 in 2 weeks. Lo and behold, 2 weeks ago, she was crucifying Florida, criticizing Florida. I told you I'm not going to let up. I'm always going to go back and revisit what they say, because all they do is lie, and then they just don't talk about it anymore. And then people just give them the get out of jail free card. Not this guy. I'm going to continue to revisit these things and remember what they said and then call them out, because she was crucifying Wisconsin and Florida. Florida's doing great. Florida's doing so great. Guess what? They're allowing people to go in the nursing homes and see their loved ones. We're not. We're still one of the, 5 or 6 states that are still denying that. That's what I read today. And out of all those states, the ones that are doing the most testing, besides Alaska, Alaska's number 1. The reason Alaska's number 1 is because everybody's really congregated in a couple cities. And so it's easy to test everybody. And then the rest of Alaska is spread out. So Alaska per 1 million has the most tests, but almost all the highest tests per 1 million of population is all Democrat. Why do you think that, folks? Why do you think they're doing that? We all know the answer. It's all about November. They want to keep the fear in everybody. They want to keep the fear of this pandemic. They keep everybody face diapered up. They keep people from going and voting in the polls. So they want to do online or voting in the mail, which is the easiest way to commit fraud. We've seen it. It's all about the election. And that just kills me, just destroys me, that we're willing to destroy people's lives for a presidential race. Man, unbelievable. And you see it. And you see the double standard. And you see the riots and the looting. It's not America, man. It's not. And we're going to win this fight. We are going to win this fight. So hang in there. I want to go over one more thing tonight, something that is happening, because I told you from the very beginning, it's always darkest right before sunrise. And here's the cool part. It's not that dark anymore. Still getting negativity, still getting the trolls. Everybody's starting to hit back. They are going to attack because we're so close. But all of us can feel it. All of us can see it, that there's a little light on that horizon now. It's not so gosh darn dark. We're starting to see that the sunrise is coming up. And I saw this message from a person who's circulating the petition. And she got up, setting up all of her signs and tables, and somebody hanging out their car window shouted, "Whitmer, the best governor Michigan has ever had." The rest of what they said, I wouldn't want my grandkids to see. Anyway, 10 minutes later, the owner of the restaurant got several consecutive intimidating phone calls from people that voiced their displeasure about us setting up a tent at their restaurant. The owner came outside and told us we would have to leave because they couldn't afford to offend any customers. We obliged, even though I told them it was probably the people in the car that had called. As Calhoun County coordinator, I can attest that we had over 20 petition signing events in this county and never had one single complaint phoned in. See, that's what the radical far left will do. Kick and scream, destroy signs, threaten businesses, That's what the radical far left, aka Antifa, aka anarchists, Marxists, will do. They intimidate. They release the Gestapo. Even our elected official, our governor, was stated to say to implore them to wear those masks or do it forcefully. That's what tyrants say, folks. So to all my brave heroes out there, to we the people, to our soldiers that are getting it done, that are hammering it down, that continues to hammer it down. 2 weeks, folks, we're going to have this done. We are going to do what nobody has ever been able to do, is collect that many signatures, 500,000 in this amount of time. And it's because of all of you that we're getting this done. So that is going to be the theme over the next 2 weeks, is to hammer down. Don't you quit. Don't you give up. I told you from the beginning, I wasn't going to give up on you. You cannot give up on me. We have to hammer down, and we have to push harder and stronger than we ever have before and slam that gas pedal into the floor to that finish line, which is so close, You ever heard of the old saying that you're one pickaxe away from striking gold? This is not the time to quit, and I know you don't go to quit. You guys haven't shown any type of quit, but I'm here to inspire you to go for the finish line and not run to the finish line. Run through the finish line. Run through it. Run through the goal line. We're not stopping at the finish line. We're running through it, so you got to hammer down. Hammer it down, and let's get this done. Let's restore the checks and balances in this great state. Let's get this done, folks. And we are getting it done. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Fight the clown show every chance that you get, and we'll see where this conversation evolves after we get the petitions. But after that, it's going to be getting after the Secretary of State to verify them, get in front of the legislature, getting them to vote. Folks, it's done. We achieved our objective, and we'll see what we need to do next. And there's probably a lot of stuff that we, the people, are going to be going after next. But right now, keep your eye on the prize. Repeal that 1945, unlock Michigan, stand up Michigan, and continue to fight this clown show. God bless you. God bless the state of Michigan, and God bless the United States. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.